Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is doing fantastic this wonderful Tuesday morning. Is it Turnaround Tuesday? Does that mean we drop? We will look at that in a little bit. By the way, if you are new here, do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term viewers and subscribers, please leave some comments and definitely like the videos. Unless I say something you don't like, then dislike the video. By the way, okay, let's see who's here. Who's here? Jake, the dogs. Well, we have one that was sick. He's back home. He was able to eat a little something. He's on medication. We're waiting for some more test results, but he is resting on the bed. So that is the other four are all okay. So that's a good morning, Davey. Hey, Dan Jet. Hey, Amit. Good morning, Options 22. The dog is doing, again, he's doing better. Thank you, everybody, for asking. I am here in the seat, ready to do some analysis with everybody. And then I will check in on the dog again. So, trust me, my dogs are very well taken care of. All rescues, all 5 of them. So, let's see where we sit. Let's see where we sit. We have, remember, the Fed speeches 9:30 Central. 1 o'clock Central, and then after market, 4 o'clock Central time. So that's what I will be paying very close attention. Remember, yesterday's speeches were very, very hawkish from my perspective, and the market sort of shrugged it off. Let's see if it can continue to do that. Fed Watch Tool, now about 64% of a 50 basis point hike in May, but remember, May is a long way off. Gamma, using their analysis of tier 1 alpha, 44.80. So, the spot was at 44.61. So slightly in negative gamma. But what's going to be interesting is if we do start getting a sell-off, negative gamma starts accelerating pretty rapidly. So keep that in mind. So again, negative gamma amplifies the move, higher volatility. So it amplifies sell-offs and amplifies rallies. If we do rally, we're in positive gamma. So that dampens the rally effect. Now, anything can still happen because you can get massive buying pressure even above, into positive gamma, and it still can go up. But there's no additional juice from the options side of having to re-hedge your positions. Actually, the hedging then puts a dampening effect. What I'm more interested on is if we do break below some key levels, we get into that deeper and deeper negative gamma, and it can then accelerate the downside move. And also then if we bounce again, it accelerates the upside move. So let's say we pulled back, let's even say to 4,400, and we got a nice little sharp pullback with some downside gamma kicking in, and then it bounced again. That bounce could again move back up rather quickly. That's why we are in super interesting conditions. But let's take a look at the markets and prepare ourselves for the open in about 20 minutes. Right now, here's what I'm really watching. So we got overextended. Now we got 8 pushing the price. If this can't break out substantially, even if it breaks to slight new higher, we have slight higher highs, recent higher highs, we do have some potential divergence forming up. So this is waiting momentum, but it has burned off some of its oversold condition. If it can't break out, or even if the breakout's weak and then watch for reversal, I'm keying off about 44.27. We start breaking below there. You have this minor clear path move right in here. You see right in here on that 1 hour. I will watch minorly the bottom of the rotation zone, about 44.11. But really, I'm keying off 44.05, then below that 43.88 to the downside. That's only on a break. Now, we could sell off and still find support in here. So I really need a break, and I really need a break with some momentum. Is there a play up here if we get a little divergence and then we start getting some momentum back in this range? Yes, the play then would be if we break out and dip back in on momentum, I'd start targeting the bottom side of this range, that 44.27 to about 44.33. So if we break up, start getting momentum back down, that's my shorter term play. The longer term play is then if we break down below 44.27. Now, if we stick with momentum bars, because we have 8 pushing the price to the upside, once we really accelerate through about 44.87, then I will target 45.14, 4,500 to about 45.14. So this is either a make or break play. We're in no man's land with some waning divergences, but this thing can still accelerate to the upside, and we don't have to get that turnaround Tuesday. Although it's called Turnaround Tuesday for a reason. So we will see. Also, what I'm watching is if we do accelerate, see this 43.86 daily rotation zone, 4,400, 43.86 putting and a possible bottoming play in there. And that's what I said over here. That kicks us into deeper into negative gamma territory. And then if we did get a move back up off that rotation zone, it could accelerate back up pretty quickly. So interesting week is all those Fed speakers. Nasdaq, again, Nasdaq's pretty much the same pattern. Pretty much the same pattern. To the upside, I really need the acceleration above 14,537.50. And if we break down below about 14,252 to 14,250, same thing. Clear path. Minor would be the bottom of the 4-hour rotation zone, 14,185. I would watch for a little pause there, but then major, you're returning to that 25% harmonic. I'm not going to add another level in here because you have 1470 to about 1485 would be my first level of support. And then down there, longer term, I'm again keying off about 13,890 to 13,900. So that's what we are looking at. See, you can watch this little base here, but you also have the harmonic cluster right there. If you break out to the upside, 14,657 is my first major target. You see here, even to that 14,085 is just a return to the first cross of the rotation zone. So that's the key area I am watching for some potential support. What flips us to really negative? Again, that's all the way back down at 13,507. So we're a long way off. We could find a lot of support in this, or we could sit in a choppy market for a while. That's why we got to play current price action. Long term, again, I am still bearish. Nothing has changed on that. Even if we rally long term, I'm bearish. It's setting up when we get another major topping pattern, which we do not have yet. This is not a major topping pattern in the S&P or Nasdaq. This is a minor potential topping pattern for a minor pullback. Again, major pattern, that's when I start looking to get to reestablish some longer term short positions. Dow, we had this little double running up, pulling back, did not invalidate the double. The invalidation would have been back below around this 34,275. And this never surprises me, especially in the overnight Asian session markets. And then you had the acceleration with the Europe Open. And look at that pausing at that 34,614. I'm just going to leave this on because if we start getting above this 34,614, 34,615, it could make a quick little pop higher. That's why I'm leaving it on for now. But this is virtually in the same spot. 8 catching up. The Dow's been underperforming, though, from a technical perspective. And right now, area to watch that I'm watching for on the Dow is right in here, which would put it below the 4-hour rotation zone and below this resistance shelf, tested with support. So below 34,250, you might just have back down to 34,190 area, but below 34,190, you can start seeing some acceleration to the downside, and I'd really start focusing on about 33.9. 33.9. Now, and that 33.9 is the bottom of the rotation zone and also in this key resistance becoming support area. To the upside, breaking above the highs, the level I'm watching is the 200 simple 34,875. I think that would be the pausing point. At least we also have why, not just the moving average that so many people focus on, but you look at over here to you had support, retested resistance. So you see right in this area. And even if you pop up to the harmonic, you're back to key resistance area. So that's what I'm watching. The upside would be 34,890 to 35,14. So that's where we are. When you consider ClearPath's moves, you give more recent price action weight when it comes to pausing areas versus yes. Most recent price action gets the more weight. Very good question, Amit. More recent. Why? Because again, this is an easier way also to spot stuff with volume profile, which I look at, but I don't put a lot in this channel because I can't be here for an hour with you analyzing it. You can actually spot the major points using a lot of these ClearPath techniques. And it's actually simpler to use and analyze. I think a lot of people get caught up a little too much in some nuances. Vixx at key pivot. Yeah, we'll take a look at the Vixx. I gotta keep reminding myself to add this. I wish I could get real time. Again, this is 15-minute delayed. It's not your key. If this does continue to drop, I mean, I'm just watching for it to get back down to this 2021. There's still no fear in this market. Now, if we do get a bump up, I'd be watching around 26 for resistance. But you see here, there's still no fear, unwinding fear. And even with, the price action yesterday just declining more. So I will keep an eye on that. I don't think it's at a key pivot yet. I'd be watching around this 20.5 level, 20.5. That was his prior bottom. And the 200 and this little resistance becoming support. And you can do your same technical analysis on things like the Vixx. Russell still watching, holding this 2052 level. Again, still watching. If we do break above 2084, you are into a minor move right there to about 2136. Where if we do break down, though, your first key support is 2022. You really don't want it dropping if you're playing the Russell below 2022. DAX, again, these are sideways corrections so far. So DAX sideways correction. We could, unless you get a pretty decent sell-off in the DAX, you do have the first cross rotation zone. Again, we do not trade crosses, but this is at a critical juncture. Again, DAX, break about 14,550. Then my next target is 14,840 area, and break below this 14,205. I'm watching then for minor coming in right around 1424, then about 13,870 area. Crude's come back down to the rotation zone, holding this trend line right now on the longer term basis, and I'm really watching this key area, especially if we start breaking below about 106.50 again on at least a 1 hour closing basis, if not a 4 hour closing basis. Still holding. I'm still watching. We don't have that short signal in place yet. Still holding this trend line. And when it holds a trend line, it doesn't have to, don't watch it to a tick or a penny or anything else. This is holding. Okay, this is a bounce off of it and getting in that 4 hour rotation zone and bouncing back up, but it's starting to lose some momentum. So I'm even on another push higher, watching for more divergences. And you see here, this was this little prior peak after the initial sell-off, after making those highs up around 130, and then retest that high area. Remember making that double, which we went to full target on. This was the first sell-off. We had the reactionary counter move, and we've stalled out at there. So that is very key. If it does get above there, remember, this is also in the 50 to 62.5 retracement area. Those are these purple lines, and we already have one move down. It could push up, make another divergence, and get down. What would change the pattern to more bullish would be on a close above 116.65 on a closing basis, and that would be a daily close. Until there, I'm still watching for that rollover patterns. Gold, just pausing right here. Would not be surprised to see at least a pullback to retest this 1904 level, and if that breaks, then 1876, which is also why I trade around a core position in gold and silver, because you had to unwind something in this move up, and then you get to re-add on a move back down and trade around again. Amit Watt said yesterday, I have a classroom about sort of giving an overview about how to trade around the core position. Silver, again, my key areas about this 24.74 to about 24.60. If we broke below that, I'm keying off of 24.30. Notes, again, look at this. We already put up our harmonics again, revised it yesterday, pretty much hit that 123.04, just missing, already rotating back down through. Next major area is 122.16 to about 122.14. So again, this is still very bearish price action in the 10-year. Double potential still in. This did not invalidate it. It did not get high enough to invalidate it. So we still do have a potential. Well, it's confirmed, but it has not triggered yet on the closing basis. All right, I'll get to some other stuff in a second. Let's just check out where we sit with the yield curve. So the 10-2s, which remember Bob should be on this afternoon. Ask him about the 10-2s and why is that so important. And also remind me if I forget to ask him about where he thinks, because Powell said they're targeting the shorter end of the curve, what he thinks that means. The 10-year, again, we've now come up in this cluster area. If we do continue higher, well, I wouldn't, again, not be surprised at a pullback at some point if we do start getting a sell-off in the market. But if we don't really get that sell-off, next target is about 2.464. Let's see. We had some stuff. Where do we sit? Where do we sit? Where do we sit? Tesla. I know we got Tesla. Hold on one second. Good morning, Lauren. Good morning. Blood rates, Fed moving too slowly to combat inflation. Thank you for putting that in here. If anybody else sees anything that I know there's talk going on now. UEC is ripping with uranium, and you should not have been caught off guard with uranium. I've put that out there. It's another great, fantastic commodity play, and you can still trade that around a core position until it breaks to new highs. We'll peek at it in a second. And I know we're talking about Tesla opening the plant. Tesla's already got this run into overbought condition. Can Tesla keep going? Sure, it's Tesla, but I'm watching for a topping pattern. Remember, we hit that major cluster yesterday that I had hit. I had pointed out if it does rip higher short term, next area is 966, and then major would be 988. But I am starting to watch for a topping pattern. You see very overbought on the 4-hour, overbought on the daily, and running out. So if we start getting especially the rollover in, sorry, I said especially a couple too many times this morning. So if we do get that rollover in Tesla, I am watching for a return to this 878 level, and then below that would be 859. So those are all the key levels I'm watching. Let's check UEC. UEC, I mean, yeah, UEC's really got to get above 539, Uranium Energy Corp, and then we got 577. I would not ignore that 577 to raise a stop. That's that prior peak back from November last year, and then above there was 615, so that'd be definitely an area to raise a stop. URA, again, looks like it's going to be up a little today. I'm still keeping an eye on this channel. My next area of resistance today is about 2769 for stop raises. And then up at the top of this channel is where, you know, if you're trading around a core position, I look to lighten up and then re-add on a pullback. But you got to keep a core position on uranium. So that's not take everything off. That's just for core traders. Again, I can't give specific investment advice, so this is educational purposes only to try to help you to understand how I think about it. And you are free to trade it however you want. It is your money, but please stick to a trading plan and your method. What else? Let me just check in. I like to look at Sprott physical. And the key, if you watch this intraday above 1512, it could make an interesting run. And this is a great area for a short-term little reverse harmonic. And I'd be watching really if it starts breaking the upside about 1566. Mike, double top on the Qs, looking like triple top is 87.50 when you pull the plug on your put short. Again, I don't have any short positions right now based off this what we are expecting this this rally last week. With the Qs, we've already come up. We had this double bottom stalling out virtually at, I mean, I consider this with multiple tests up here. That's very sloppy. We're rotating back up. just on your cues, you know, until it gets above, if it starts breaking out, I'd really be watching those futures. But if the cues start getting above about 352 with some momentum, I wouldn't want a short position. If it starts breaking down below about 345.80, that short position can be in play. Remember, we're topping out by this bottoming pattern, which the highest probability targets were the first and second because the third one was beyond the move that started it. That's why it's stalling out just in front of it. And if you look over here, this was little support becoming resistance. So this top is already pretty much in place for me. However, unless you get some momentum to the upside, wouldn't mind holding a short position to see if it does break below the 4-hour rotation zone, because then it could get a little acceleration to the downside. I'd bail on it if you start getting momentum of 352. And if you're watching the futures, that's why I have this. If the futures break up with momentum and get through this 14,537, do not want to be short, at least at all, until I get a better topping pattern. Why? You're stalling also at the 50. You start getting through here, you could easily make a run to this 50% level. You see the next major harmonics. Here's your retracement harmonics. And if it breaks above here, we could easily make a run to that 50% level and then even to that 200 again. And I'm not talking today. I'm talking, in the next few days. So please keep that in mind. And then this is the major rollover zone again here. So that's where I'd really be watching if we run up to reestablish a short position once I start getting a topping pattern. Until then, if you have a minor short position on, I'd just be keying off those cues and watch that 4-hour rotation zone. I mean, keying off the futures and watch that 4-hour rotation zone. 15 or 30-minute chart. Again, if you're watching stuff on the shorter term charts, which if you start breaking down on the open, you can watch about this 14,360 and then watch about 14,300. You see this base here, that this was a valid double bottom. I just don't normally get into charts this short for people, but this was valid. And then below that, you're keying off those larger term levels off that 1 hour. You see here that 1 hour. You have this key support right here about 14,252, 14,250. And that's going to be breaking down there. That's where I start watching it. Docu, yeah, Baba's, I wouldn't worry about, I think a lot of these buybacks, you got Baba buyback, that's announced. And it's going to bounce it up. But again, it's going right back to the 50. If you do make a run, you do have some gaps here, but my major level, 126.58. And again, it's up against the daily rotation zone. So could it still pop up? Yeah, but on any weakness, I'm watching for that to roll over. Docu. Ooh, haven't looked at this in a couple days, but look at that off that 73.16 gap fill play out there. Again, I'd be watching for that rollover. What did you say on Docu? On quite a run since inside buy last week, filling the gap down from earnings. Looked like it may be a rollover play soon, but there's another gap above around 128. Thoughts? I know, not trading advice. Yeah, you start breaking down. Let's just check this. I mean, that's clearly a clear path on the daily, on the 4 hour, on the 1 hour. You do have a topping pattern. You start breaking down below the 1 hour rotation zone in about 93. You still have this little gap to fill. That would be my first sign that it is rolling over for a rollover play. Let's see. And then beyond that gap, I'd be targeting around 85.50 area. On the shorter term, the next play isn't to the long side as if it breaks above $100. 4 hour 50 EMA right there, this little resistance ledge. And if you break above there, you're into a clear path move higher. So could this, again, if we get that breakout to the upside, all these stuff that has been beat down could still run a little higher. You have a clear path move up here. Could it return to the 50? Yeah. But again, look, it's still against this rotation zone. So even on a longer term move higher, it would be setting up for another sell. So that'd be the play. I need to wait for more, either that breakdown play or the breakout play. It's in no man's land right now. XOM. Again, we're opening. I'm going to have to jump off in a minute, but XOM. XOM, I'm watching again. I'm watching for this longer term head and shoulders pattern. Short term, my key area, if we do pop higher above yesterday's high, this is definitely one. Trail out stops on the long side. 83, 89 to 84 is key resistance on a pullback. I'm watching yesterday's low. Below yesterday's low, we have a gap fill, and that starts completing the right-hand shoulder. But beyond that, the key area I'm watching is this neckline with the 50 on a breakdown play. So those are your levels. With that, I have to jump into the opening. So thank you for being here. I will talk to everyone this afternoon. Have a great trading and investing day. Bye for now. Thank you.